Now, after the after Ricochet and the Usos win, AJ Styles, the club, they come down. They're beating up. Actually, Ricochet dives outside of the ring onto them. Looks really cool. All 9 men are in there fighting now. Magic Killer, Too Sweet, and we're going to that. Basically, I'm assuming will be a rematch between AJ Styles and Ricochet at SummerSlam. I'm not sure. We then War Raiders are shown, backstage. They say that their Viking lifestyle is a way of life. We are then going to a commercial break, and we are told about the Raw reunion show. Now, guys, the Raw reunion show is nothing more than a way for them to draw ratings because they really don't have anything to draw ratings with right now. Brock might be there, but I wouldn't be surprised if Brock's not there. And they have the biggest thing going on now is Bray Wyatt and Finn Balor. Now, I had heard that Finn Balor was going to be leaving and going away for about 2 months. I don't know if that's true. Peanut butter and jelly allegations. I don't know if it'll happen after SummerSlam, if they'll have a match or what. But Bray Wyatt's the biggest thing going on. Has been for months. So, this whole Raw reunion thing is just a way to get some ratings. That's why they brought Brock Lesnar back, because they need to sell out SummerSlam. And they know that, the ticket sales haven't been so good lately. So they bring back Brock Lesnar. I'm sure they'll have a legend at the reunion say that he's going to have a match for SummerSlam. I hope to God it's not Goldberg. But it is what it is. So, Viking Raiders come out and they destroy the local jobbers, a team of Vinny something, Jackson James. They got destroyed. There were some pretty ugly bumps. And that's basically the whole deal. Drew McIntyre, they said something about Drew McIntyre everybody was joking backstage, making fun of Drew McIntyre earlier today, backstage, and this is what we caught. And Drew McIntyre basically, has it out with Cedric Alexander, and it sets up their match for tonight. Cedric Alexander told Drew McIntyre, tonight the joke will be on you, because basically Drew McIntyre suggests that Alexander is nothing more than a joke. When Cedric Alexander said that, I said they're probably going to have him beat Drew tonight. And that's what happened, as Michael Cole announced it as a massive upset. Drew McIntyre versus Cedric Alexander. Cedric Alexander gets one of those, quick little roll-up pins, and he beats Drew McIntyre. Here's the thing. Cedric Alexander should have never been put in a situation where he has to go fight Drew McIntyre right off the bat. Drew McIntyre should not be put in a situation where he has to face Cedric Alexander right now after coming off a loss. They just don't match things up right. They don't match things up properly, Make Cedric look strong in a competitive match against an opponent to where he can get all his moves off. That's the problem with putting these guys on 205 Live, and they can really show and showcase their talent and their skills and their athleticism. They're not going to be able to do that on the main roster against some of these bigger guys like Drew McIntyre. He's a giant. So even though Cedric Alexander wins, and it's a big deal for him, hopefully they're going to be pushing him. They better push him if they're going to put Drew McIntyre's, status on the line like that and make him take that loss for nothing, then that's crap. But would not surprise me. Next, we have Samoa Joe versus Finn Balor. This was another match that for some reason I just did not care that much about. Quick match. Samoa Joe actually wins. Then Finn Balor hits his coup de grace on him after the match. They showed a little segment during the match of next week Monday Night Raw reunion, and it had a picture of Stone Cold Steve Austin. They had to show that off. Make sure you guys tune in next week. Stone Cold's going to be here. So Joe gets a quick pin, and he gets a quick he gets a quick pin, and then he puts the Cotina clutch on Finlay. After that, Finlay does fight back, gets his coup de grace. Then Finn Balor's music hits while he's lost, but he got his heat back. So Finn Balor's music hits. Everybody's throwing their hands in the air with Finn Balor. Then all of a sudden the music starts to slow down like an old record to a stop. The lights flicker. The lights go out. You hear something going on in the ring. The lights come on. Bray Wyatt is in the ring in the full Fiend getup, and he's holding Finn Balor and the Sister Abigail set up. Hits the Sister Abigail. This was awesome. The production value of this alone was unlike anything I have ever seen in wrestling, WWE period. I've never seen anything like this. They had to have some type of little lights or something around the ring that was moving. Like, it wasn't like a strobe light, but like moving lights almost. Kind of a strobe light, I guess. The mask that he wears is freaking just straight out of a nightmare, the way this guy looks. He really looks like an evil creature, something that you should be scared of. You don't get that very much in the WWE anymore. And nobody's been able to pull it off properly other than The Undertaker. So Kane, has had his moments, but to visually see something and say, ooh, that's spooky, that's creepy. The way they did it, it looked great, and I was so happy to see this. This has got to be the biggest and most anticipated return of Monday Night Raw, WWE, since, and I'm going out on a limb here, you guys can, at me if you want. This is the most anticipated superstar coming back to the WWE since when Triple H tore his quad that first time and return. And, I'm just saying return now. I want to hear who y'all think has, since this return, what was the most anticipated return since Bray Wyatt coming back? But it was awesome. They did a great job. He looks good in the ring. He looks good with that mask. And if they do this right, they may have struck gold with Bray Wyatt. They may have struck gold. You go to the 24/7 deal, and Drake Maverick gets a room at a hotel. He gives the guy a couple extra $100 bills. Then you see R-Truth in the background. It is what it is. We know where it's going. I'm not really going to go all into the ins and outs of what this is, but this is 24/7 stuff. They show the Street Profits backstage doing their shtick, and I'm kind of tired of it already, a little bit. It's just kind of, God, dude, dude is screaming on the microphone, and it gets loud, and I'm all about that loudness. So, it's just, they just feel like a gimmick that's not going to go over. And I don't know why they're not letting them be themselves. But maybe that's them. Who knows? We come back from a commercial. We have Zack Ryder in the ring because he is from Long Island. And Mike Cornelis is about to enter the ring. Maria comes out and says, you can't do this. I'm going to wrestle this match because you're not man enough to beat him. He says, what are you doing? You're pregnant. You can't wrestle. She says, I'm going anyway. So she starts heading down the ramp. Referee stops her. Mike's like, watch, I got this. Watch, I've got this. He goes in there. Zack Ryder hits the Rough Rider. 1, 2, 3. and the announcer says, your winner in less than a minute, Zack Ryder. I don't get that. Why does the announcer... I've never, ever, ever, ever heard the announcer say, in under a minute, such and such wins, such and such lose. I've never heard that. So that's strictly for storyline. I'm telling you, they are burying Mike Kanellis. Vince McMahon is burying Mike Kanellis. Then she comes out and says, my unborn child had a better chance of winning this match than you. Are they trying to draw... Are they trying to get people... Are they trying to do people that are an abortion angle? Or I don't know. I don't know how they're trying to get these people riled up, what they're thinking with this stuff, but none of this is interesting to me. I do not care about this storyline. Last week they mentioned, well, I don't know if you are the father. Nothing's brought up of that this time. It's just whatever they feel like they want to go out there and do with this pregnancy. So I'm really hoping that the initial things that I heard, one of the initial rumors that I heard when this all started is that, and of course this is peanut butter jelly allegations. I initially heard that this was when they re-signed with the WWE, they did not tell Vince McMahon or the people that signed them, WWE, that she was with child. They withheld that information. They reportedly signed a 5-year deal for, I want to say, 250 a piece, 250,000, maybe not, maybe, I don't know. That's what I heard. And you're going to sign these guys for 5 years. You're expecting to do something with them. The only reason they signed this couple is so they wouldn't go to AEW. Let them go. They're not going to be that big of a deal. I just don't understand why these guys you're not going to use, and they're obviously not superstars. They're not going to change the game. I don't see why they won't let these guys go. Just let them go. But evidently, when they found out that Maria really was pregnant and, not, a shoot, this is a shoot, she's actually pregnant, is what I heard, that once they found that out and that they withheld that information from the WWE, that now Vince is basically taking it out on them. And this is his way of making Mike Kanellis look like a bitch. And I think they're going to mock this. If it's a real pregnancy, they're going to run through this pregnancy on screen the whole time she's pregnant, like the whole 9 months. So I'm sure they can't do it, at a certain time, and then God forbid that she's not going to be in there taking any bumps or anything, I'm sure. But it's just the fact that they're planning on having her out there if she's really pregnant because they did not tell the company. So, again, I don't know if that's true. That's just peanut butter and jelly. We come back. We have a 6-man tag. We have the Club versus the Lucha House Party. And I found it odd that as the Lucha House Party is coming down to the ring, Renee says something about, well, they're not really that great of a... It's kind of hinting around they're going to get their asses kicked tonight against the Club. And, Corey Graves and Michael Cole was like, oh, they're a very good tag team. Tonight we're going to get a competitive matchup out of them. I can assure you that. How in the hell can you assure me that? Every week these guys, they just getting, all three of them got beat up by Lars Sullivan at Stomping Ground or something like that, Saudi Arabia, whatever it was. They all three got beat up. at the same time. So how do you know they're going to come out here and have a competitive matchup? It was a way for them to tell all of us, hey, guys, I know we didn't say this was any 2 out of 3 falls match or anything, but we're still taking a commercial break. That's the only reason that they said that. So they could legitimize these guys being in the ring as long as they were with the club, just so they could take an advertisement break when Ricochet comes and attacks them during the match. How's that not a DQ? A man that is not in the match comes out and pulls AJ Styles off the ring post and starts fighting him outside the ring. That's a DQ. No, because we have to go to break. So we can't do that. And that's why they had a competitive matchup with these guys. This is why they didn't get squashed like they normally do. So it actually was a decently competitive match. I mean, everybody got their spots in for Lucha House Party, to the most part. Now, basically, we're going to go to Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, Carmella versus Naomi. And this is Becky Lynch comes out. This is basically going to be for the number 1 contender spot at SummerSlam to face Becky Lynch. You've got Natty, you got Alexa Bliss, Carmella, and Naomi. Of course, Nikki Cross is out there with Alexa Bliss. Some point during this match, Carmella takes a pinfall. I'm not sure if they went to break then. I can't remember. But I do know that it seemed like they took a break just during the match at one point in this match. Chance of this is awful. Guys, it was a slower match. It wasn't the best technical match. But at least I appreciate what they were trying to do here. And the promo at the end that Natalie gives when she wins, it comes down to Natty and Bliss. It did have like a kind of a big fight feel there at the end. Nikki Cross grabs the mic at one time and chants, "You guys need to start," or says, "Y'all need to start chanting for Alexa Bliss." And then they chant, "You suck" to Alexa Bliss. They start chanting, "Let's go Cena." They chant Goldberg. And at one point, Natty gets a sharpshooter onto Alexa Bliss, and she wins. And I'm like, good. Natty deserves this. Natty deserves this title. She is the best wrestler in the ring out of all 4 of those girls in the ring. She deserves it the most out of all 4 of those girls in the ring. And she will put on a good match with Becky Lynch at SummerSlam. I guarantee it. It will be a good match. But then Becky and Natalie kind of face off, and this was good as well. Natty basically says, Becky basically is telling Natalie, look, I know we're friends, but if you think that I'm going to take it easy on you, you're wrong. I'm going to mop the floor with you. And Natty says something, well, I'm going to take your greasy red hair and mop the floor with you. And I don't understand why Becky Lynch said this, but she said something about we're going to war, and it shows from, obviously I'm way better at war than I am at being a lover, or I'm way better at war than I am with love. And Natalie says, well, maybe you should be a better lover, bitch. And the crowd kind of pops there, but I'm glad they're giving Natalie this opportunity. And I can't wait to see that match. I hope they don't ruin it. Hope they don't screw it up. Then we go to this deal with The Miz and Dolph Ziggler, Miz TV. Dolph Ziggler comes out and says, I just wanted to come out here and come talk about the rumors. The Miz it says that you're now a company yes man and you're only here for the money and the fame, just like your wife. And then The Miz attacks Dolph Ziggler immediately when he mentions his wife. Another match I do not care about will probably be SummerSlam pre-show nonsense. They do the 24/7 spot. You guys can watch it on social media. Drake Maverick basically gets beat in his bed on his honeymoon for the 24/7 title. Main event. There was only two people I thought that could have won this, and it was Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, and they went with Seth Rollins, and I'm glad that they did not go with Roman Reigns. But there was a spot here where Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins kind of ran into each other. It was a miscommunication. And I wonder if that's going to play into things later on down the road. If Heyman has any control over this, I know Roman Reigns is on SmackDown, but if Heyman or even Bischoff can have any control over these storylines, if they're allowed to turn Roman Reigns heel, ladies and gentlemen, trust me, it will be a huge, huge good thing for Roman Reigns and his character. And it will be good for the WWE if they turn Roman Reigns heel. And if they don't do it soon, they've waited too long. But Vince needs that guy that he can put out there right behind Cena and whatever. I mean, I think they could have used Daniel Bryan in that spot, but he got injured. So that is the basically the review of Monday Night Raw. Not a whole lot going on, not a whole lot of change. Still pretty much the same gripes that I have about last week's Raw and the week before that and the week before that. Other than Bray Wyatt's return and the great production that they did on that, we just had a regular Raw. Just another regular Raw. So once again, guys, I'm getting all this stuff up and loaded for you, and we are on all those media outlets that I mentioned earlier. Follow me, DVL Music, on Instagram. The Big Dave Club on Instagram. YouTube, check us out. Big Dave Wrestling Podcast. And you can also look up the Big Dave Wrestling Podcast on Anchor, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and many other apps where you can get your audio and media input. So, once again, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you. Remember, I am not on to my social media, Facebook, so I need you guys to share everything you can for me so people will get on and support the podcast. I will have my Patreon up soon. You can support me. $1 a month would be great to help me pay for some of this equipment that I am getting, apps and things that I'm using. Just trying to break even on that. But I'll continue to go on the hole. I don't care because I love this, guys. I enjoy doing it. We will be back soon for the SmackDown review of the Big Dave Wrestling Review here on the Anchor app and the Big Dave Wrestling Podcast on YouTube. Oops, sorry. Not the Big Dave Wrestling Podcast. That's the old name of the show. Big Dave's Wrestling Review. That's it. Peace.